What's up, everyone? It's Cannan back with another video, and today I want to talk about what the title of the video says. Is there any possible way RWBY could have saved Rooster Teeth? Now, the closure of Rooster Teeth affected us all. Whether it be we were all worried about the people who work there, we were worried about RWBY continuing, we were worried about any other Rooster Teeth productions continuing, or all of it together, which you should have been. You should have been worried about all of that. Of course, as time has went by, RWBY has now been acquired by Viz Media, and while that was a great thing, we're still awaiting news on the future. You know, when Volume 10 will happen. Who's actually going to be working on it. We do know that Carrie and other members of RWBY are still going to be involved, but Viz is a manga distributor. They're not exactly an anime creating studio. Are they going to create their own animation department? Who are they going to outsource it to if they don't? Will reactions still be allowed? That's all questions that we still need the answers to, and trying to come up with a video, because we've not been doing a lot of standard videos that we usually do. We used to put out 3 a week, but with work and the ability to stream now, streaming has just made things a little bit more easier. But I was looking just today, and it's like, wow, I've not done a standard Let's Play episode in 5 months. Yeah, I need to get on that, but streaming is just easier to do gameplay. It really is. But that'll be fixed soon, guys. You know, I've got to get more energy. And Jess has been sick, and there's days where she's not off and I am, or I'm not off and she is. She's just been unavailable recently to do anything. But, yes, after that little intro that was all over the place, could RWBY have saved Rooster Teeth? Now, I'm using Volume 6 as a background because it seems like things really started going downhill for Rooster Teeth after the release of Volume 6. Before that, RWBY was everywhere. You would see RWBY merch in stores. I remember going to Walmart and seeing RWBY stuff. And of course, they had exclusive things with places like Toys R Us, Best Buy, FYE, Books A Million, GameStop, all those places. I remember when I worked at GameStop, we were playing the trailer for Volume 6, and that's because Rooster Teeth, at that time, was in a partnership with GameStop, and they did segments for us. Achievement Hunter done segments for us, all that. So, before Volume 6, a lot of people could say that RWBY was at its apex at the time. Yes, there was a little bit of discontent from after Volume 5 because how Volume 5 ended up, but worldwide, RWBY was everywhere. You would go to Comic Cons and there'd be banners of Team RWBY all over the place. Like, come on, they had banners of these girls at New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con. And it just seems like after Volume 6, things really started going downhill. But there's a lot of factors behind that. Now, was RWBY big enough to solely save Rooster Teeth in 2024? No. RWBY is a cultural phenomenon now. It's very popular in other parts of the world. It's very popular in Japan. RWBY has been a part of many books, comic series, video games, soundtracks, all that. It's pretty much reached what a lot of animation series would have loved to have been that started off as a small web series. You had RWBY being a VTuber, doing collabs with VShojo and other big stars, Crunchyroll. You know, it seemed like the roof kept on rising as far as what RWBY could achieve. But after Volume 6, there was a lot of things going on. Now, of course, you had the same old stuff of fans fighting. You know, Volume 6 was very controversial, because it had Blake and Yang killing Adam. And that alone caused a lot of friction within the fandom because you know how it is. But it was stuff that happened outside of the show that really, it was a rough time. Because not only did you have people going after Bumblebee shippers after the whole killing Adam thing and stuff like that, but then you had the firing of a certain voice actor who I'm not going to name. And that really, like, it seemed like at that time, like, and Rooster Teeth was not the only ones to let this individual go, but it would cause people who were fans of this voice actor to drop their memberships, stop watching the show. And then, of course, after Volume 6, we saw the release of a whole new show called Genlock. And personally, I had no interest in Genlock. It wasn't my type of show, even though I do like mech anime. I love the Gundam series, but it for me at that time it wasn't RWBY, so I didn't care. But it had a lot of big names as far as voice talent goes behind it, and it seemed like WB at the time, because I believe Rooster Teeth was already in the WB umbrella at this time, seemed to throw a little bit more at it. It was showing it off more, I think, because of the big names behind it. But also, when Genlock Season 1 came out, Rooster Teeth was barely mentioned at all for working on it. And RWBY's financial problems really started because of Genlock, because the one behind Genlock, not going to name him either because he doesn't deserve to be named, used almost all of the animation budget for Genlock that was supposed to be distributed evenly, if I remember correctly. But then, even when Volume 7 came out, there was still stuff going on. You had stuff coming out about personal things that were going with inside Rooster Teeth. Allegations and things like that, which did not help their case whatsoever. Now, personally, I enjoyed Volume 7, and this was still at a time where volumes were being greenlit way ahead of time. Like, Volume 7 and 8 got greenlit together. Well, 7, 8, and 9, I think all got... Did they get greenlit all together? I cannot remember right off the top of my head. But... So you had all these allegations coming out, and that's where people, stopped paying for their first memberships, started not watching the show at all in protest. But I still don't think not enough people quit for it to be the sole reason why Rooster Teeth is no longer with us to this day. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending anything that was said or had been done. Stuff like that happens in the workplace. It happens in almost every workplace I've been into. Not exactly of people of different genders or sexuality, but just to people in general. I've seen it happen, and it always ends ugly. It's either the reason why people leave, or it's the reason why places shut down. But really, RWBY would have had to have been at the caliber of, golly, One Piece, or Dragon Ball, or something like that, to keep Rooster Teeth afloat for the foreseeable future. Not downing RWBY whatsoever. It was still their most it even became more popular than Red vs. Blue, which was for a lot of people the thing that introduced them to Rooster Teeth. But I always saw personally, this is my personal opinion, I personally saw Red vs. Blue as a niche thing. Like, you either watched it because you were a Halo fan, or you watched it just because you loved silly comedy. I like silly comedy, but I'm also not enough of a Halo fan to have watched it. So, I do think RWBY really did keep Rooster Teeth up longer than it should. Like, who knows? They could have shut down years ago. But I think RWBY helped them. Now, there are some things that Rooster Teeth decided to do that I don't know if it was their plan altogether, or if it was someone from WB telling them they had to do this. I don't know. But they pulled all their merch from stores and started selling RWBY merch exclusively. Now, hey, it's their property. they can do whatever they want with it, but when they went exclusive, the prices went up. And there were a lot of pieces of merch that people just refused to buy because it was extraordinarily expensive. I don't remember the price off the top of my head, but there was a flannel t-shirt that had like a little emblem on it, and it was like $50, $60. And I'm sorry, no one is going to buy that. Now, of course, you know, me and Jess, we bought every bit of Bumblebee merch we could, even the more expensive ones like the jackets and all that. But there was some that I was just like, why? And then there were shirts where it was just official art, like the one behind me, just splashed onto a shirt. Like this one, like this Bumblebee one right here, the biggest reason why I wanted it because this was new official art of Blake and Yang together. Finally, you know. So I don't blame a lot of people for not buying a lot of the merch and not liking it because it was really bad in some cases, and I'm sure they lost money on that in a lot of ways. They probably made a good bit, but I'm sure somewhere on certain collections, they lost big time. Now, of course, there was merch you could get through other places, like the Ninroids or the Pop-Up Parade figures. You could get those from Good Smile, because like it seems like Rooster Teeth never really got into selling figurines and all that themselves. It seems like those were always made by a third party. But I really think that since Rooster Teeth has decided for some reason to go the corporate route and decided to be picked up by Warner Brothers is really what sealed their fate. I mean, there might be a lot of information we don't know of as of right now, but keeping out, you know, fan disillusion or disinterest or loss of interest in the show, all the internal stuff that caused outrage, looking past all that, looking past, you know, someone using the animation budget to fuel their own show and giving the others scrap. Which, of course, Genlock Season 2 came out, and we all know how that ended up. That's pretty much a dead show, and I don't think there's anyone out there that's really interested in picking it up, because Season 2 literally lost all the fanfare for that show. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think they were doomed the moment they signed with Warner Brothers. And really, it's because if you look at it, Warner Brothers for a long time has been doing extremely bad to the point where I don't know if they have yet, but they have really been teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. And in 2022, when they merged with Discovery, they have a debt load of $39 billion. Now, to you and me, that's a lot of money. That's enough money to not even spend in your lifetime. Like, you would die having billions and millions of dollars still in the bank. For a huge studio that makes movies, that has all these franchises, $39 billion you can get through pretty quickly. But a debt of $39 billion. That's the thing. Warner Brothers owns a lot of IPs, Looney Tunes, and of course the DC universe. But all their stuff that they make doesn't exactly set the world on fire. I mean, yeah, you've got your diehard Batman fans, Superman fans, all that, who will buy every single animated movie that comes out, or who'll go see any DC movie there is, if there's going to be any more of those, because it seems like they've kind of sabotaged and killed their own movie universe. $39 billion in debt is not good. And it says here, there's been a declining linear business, and they also had a stock price that had dropped 65%. I'm not a business expert, but to me that does not sound good. Then, of course, in July 2024, David Zaslav, I'm sorry, this man shouldn't be managing Walmart, let alone being the boss of a huge company like this. Said he was considering breaking up the company to address its debt and boost its stock price. The options include separating the streaming and studio business from the linear networks, or creating a new company for the Max streaming service and movie studio that's not burdened by the company's debt. And it gives reasons here: softness in the U.S. linear advertising market, uncertainty around affiliate and sports right renewals. They did lose, I believe, the NBA. I think Warner Brothers Discovery owns the Turner Network, and they lost the NBA. That is huge. Even if you don't care about basketball or sports or anything like that, them losing the NBA is huge. Studio revenue falling 5% to $2.44 billion, and network segment revenue falling 8% to $5.27 billion. Now here's the kicker. In response to these challenges, Warner Brothers Discovery has implemented multiple rounds of cost cuts, including layoffs. And what has Warner Brothers been getting crap for the last couple of years? Shutting down projects before they're even fully going, closing down studios, and firing people. People have been calling for something to be done about this for months. The whole, Acme versus Wile E. Coyote, like the Wile E. Coyote movie. They pretty much said, they canceled it and used it as a tax write-off. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons. It has nothing to do with the quality of RWBY's writing, how much money RWBY makes, how much, all that. They shut down Rooster Teeth, not because fans online were not happy with Rooster Teeth anymore. It's because they needed to save the money. Because if they weren't really worried about cost, about saving money, they could have kept RWBY. They could have shut down Rooster Teeth and kept RWBY and made money off it themselves. But the fact that they shut down Rooster Teeth and decided to sell off their IPs screams, we're desperate, we need money, please buy this. So could RWBY alone have saved Rooster Teeth? Maybe before they signed on with Warner Brothers, maybe. But the day that Rooster Teeth signed with WB, I think sealed their fate in the long run. I don't think, no matter what, as long as WB was going to be having these financial issues, it was done. It was it. That's why you don't really see a whole lot come out from WB unless it is DC related or related to something else that they are affiliated with. Pro wrestling fans, that AEW, which I quit watching a good while ago, they are under the Turner program, and they've been talking about renewing their TV rights deal for months, and they've still not said and have still not decided on a deal. And I bet you anything it's because Warner Brothers is looking and being like, is this really making us enough money to warrant it? WB, I don't know if they'll ever go out of, I don't know if they'll ever shut down. I don't know if they'll ever have to sell off. Could you imagine Disney owning both Marvel and DC? That would be scary, really. But WB is in such financial debt that I think they are scared to create new things and to let studios create stuff that isn't like a guaranteed moneymaker, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Looney Tunes, all that. I think they made this decision just because they wanted to save the money. And at that point, not even RWBY could save Rooster Teeth. I don't think anything could have saved Rooster Teeth, especially as the years started winding down. But I hope everyone that worked at Rooster Teeth has found work. I really hope they're all doing well. Us as RWBY fans know that RWBY is safe now. It has a home. We're just waiting on the news. And I wish they had announced it sooner, but we don't really know what all went down before that deal was finally finalized. And that's probably why we're waiting a while now for Volume 10 news, is that they have got to get everything planned out. How long development will take, how much it's going to cost, when it'll come out, when they can start promoting it, blah, 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 all that. So I think we need to be a little bit more patient and just be thankful that we'll get a Volume 10 anyway, and the volumes that come after Volume 10. But yeah, this little idea I had, just trying to come up with ideas. Could I be 100% wrong in everything I said? Yes, but I gave my opinion, and I just think that WB was the poison that would eventually cost Rooster Teeth everything. Did Rooster Teeth help themselves with everything else that they were proven to be guilty of? No, not really, but I don't think it would have caused them to shut down on their own. I think if they had not been under that corporate umbrella, they probably could have rebounded. And if they had made not as much financial mistakes as they made, then who knows? But that's really what it is. It's a what if. What could have been. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave a comment, all that good stuff. As always, guys, this is Canaan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. See ya.